So here's the story. So I had done shows before, in Texas, and I had never done a show in San Antonio. So the original plan was we wanted to record a special in San Antonio for the new Netflix show, for the series. So we couldn't really travel too much. And remember, they kept telling us, stay in your bubble, stay in your COVID bubble. Don't forget to stay in your bubble. So in order to be as proactive and just careful, we all went out there together as a team, okay? And then we all basically said, we're gonna do a residency in San Antonio for 30 days. 30 shows in 30 days. And on the last day, we'll record a new special. This way it gives me a chance to start performing again because it'd been over a year since I touched the stage. And so we get there and they gave me the option. Do you wanna stay in a house or do you wanna stay in a hotel? And I said, well, I've never lived in Texas before, so let's see what a house feels like. So they got us like this fancy Airbnb, and basically, it was Martin, Alfred, my friend Rick, myself. It was like 4 of us. It was like the Mexican version of the real world, okay? So we're all in this big house together. Everyone gets their own room. And so, of course, I get the big room because it's me. And, look at some, no, yes. So I open up the door, I turn on the light, click. And I'm like, this is a beautiful room. Wow, look how big it is. And then I notice there's a hole in the wall. And I said, that's weird. So I get really close to the wall. And when I got close, I realized it's not a hole. It's a big ass roach. And let me tell you, I am not exaggerating when I tell you that cuca was this big. That roach was this big. Now, I have used this unit of measure before to exaggerate. And let me tell you, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that freaking cucaracha was this big. And I don't want you guys thinking, oh, what, you think you're too good for roaches? No. I grew up with roaches my whole life. My mom and I, we lived in apartment buildings, projects. We always had roaches, but they were different. First of all, they were this big. And California roaches are very different. Okay? For example, when you turn on the light, they scatter. In Texas, he chilled. In California, they respond to sound and movement. Ah! Scatter. I tried my California technique on this Tejano roach. I said, ah! And the roach was like, what? Oh my God, I don't think he's in my room. I think I'm in his. And at that moment, my tour manager walks in the room and she's like, is everything okay with the accommodations? I said, no, the room is beautiful, but look at the wall. Aw, there's a hole in the wall. I said, get closer. She gets up to the wall and she's like, oh, it's a big ass roach. I said, you're okay with that? She said, he's not in my room. She can see that I'm visibly bothered by this roach. So she's like, would you like me to take care of your little friend for you? And it is a little emasculating because I'm a big guy and she's like 5'2". So she's like, move, fool. She takes off her shoes, she grabs it, she gets up on a chair, and she brings it back, and she's like, soy la 69. Bam! Nailed that roach. Threw down her shoe, put it on. I look at the wall. Last year, we got a chance to do a European tour of 15 countries. Estonia, Germany, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, UK. We're just bouncing around all over the place. And then we wound up on the other side of the world. Out of all the countries I performed in, my favorite country outside of home is Australia. And I'll tell you why. Australia, much like us in America, has its list of priorities. You know what's not on their list? Political correctness. They do not care about your feelings. It's like a country full of Daves. Believe it or not, it's very refreshing to be around such a large group of people who speak their minds so freely. And if you know that before you go there, you're gonna have an amazing time. But if you don't know that and you show up it is a culture shock and a half because I showed up and I didn't know. Everybody says you got to see the beaches, and I went to the beach. I had people coming up to me. Hey, somebody help me get him back in the water. Yeah, right there, big fella. Look at you right there. Oh, he's moving. Oh, he's crying. I bet it tastes like gravy. It's not bullying if everyone does it. Yeah, that being said, I'm in Australia, Sydney, Australia, at the Opera House. For me, it was one of the most iconic places I've ever got to perform in. It was bucket list, definitely. After the show, I wanted to go hang out with some Aussies and see what that was like. I'm hanging out at a pub. First things first, Australian people do not drink Foster's beer. That's an American thing. They don't drink that over there. I tried ordering one to fit in, didn't go over well. Bartender looked at me. Hey, you like the taste of piss, do ya? Okay, don't order that again. So I'm hanging out with these two Aussies and we're drinking a rum called Bundaberg. At first glance, it looks like a Coca-Cola bottle because there's a polar bear on the front. And then you drink it and you're like, that's not Coke. As we're talking, a third Australian joined the conversation. And he sounded a little bit different from the other two. He had more of a raspy voice. More like, all right, yeah, mate. Yeah, all right. He sounded like a drunk pirate underwater. These two guys didn't like him, so they called him a name and they left. And now it's just me and drunk pirate. We're talking about life. Life in America, life in Australia, talking about our differences. He tells me that he's a professional knife maker. He's showing me how it's done. He's showing me pictures. We wind up polishing off 3 bottles of this rum. And drunk wasn't even the right word to describe our level. My tour manager, Ryan, he comes up to me and he says, Gabe, time to go. And I look at Ryan and I'm like, but Ryan, I just made a friend. And he makes knives. And they're pretty. My tour manager always knows how to talk to me no matter what condition I'm in. If I'm drunk, he knows better than to talk to me like I'm an adult. He talks to me like I'm 2. He looks at me and he says, hey, buddy. You hungry? Well, listen, if we don't leave right now, they're going to close McDonald's and you're going to have to eat at the airport. I got to go. Oh, Mom, you got to go. No worries. And he goes to shake my hand. And when he shook my hand, he put his personal pocket knife that he made in my hand as a gift. Some things transpired. And one day he wanted to have a conversation with me. And he caught me off guard. Like, can I talk to you, Dad? Yeah, what's up? I have something I want to tell you. Okay, what's up? It's important. Okay? It's serious. Can you please sit down? How far along is she? What are you talking about? Don't be scaring me, dude. What's about us? Okay. What's up? He tells me, can you please stop making fun of me? And when he said it, I felt it because I knew how hard it was for him to bring that up. And I said, how long have you felt this way? My whole life. Have you ever tried to bring this up in the past? Yeah. What did I say? You told me to put on deodorant. It worked. Look, Frankie, I didn't know how to be a dad, okay? It was one of those things where I just knew there were certain things I didn't want to do. I knew that I never wanted to yell at you, and I knew for a fact that I never wanted to hit you. So I did the best thing I could do with what I knew how to do. I made fun of you. That's called shaming. This year, look, if you don't want me to do any more stories or jokes or just make fun, I understand. It's one of those things where I didn't want to make him feel bad, and I don't want to feel bad making him, you know what I mean? So I said, look, I'm going to let the audience know that we spoke, and so that they understand why moving forward in the future, there will be no more stories about Frankie. Why is that important? Because if I don't explain why I stopped talking about you, they're gonna think you died. I don't want them to think you died either, so. Gave him a big hug, reminded him how much I love him, because I love him very much, and I hope he knows that. I think that a lot of the issues and frustrations we've had for a while now have a lot to do with the fact that I am no longer with his mom. I don't want you guys to think that all of a sudden I'm going to start doing jokes about her. I'm not. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about the woman I was with for almost 14 years. Okay? Nothing bad, nothing negative, nothing derogatory, nothing short of awesome. Nothing short of good vibes, okay? I have nothing bad to say about her. And not just because I signed a piece of paper that said I wouldn't say anything bad, but because at the end of the day, that is still my son's mom, and I need to make sure she continues to support me being his dad. Since the last time we've been here, a couple of things have changed. One of which is I am officially down 100 pounds. Yeah. I know some of you in the front are looking at me right now like, well, how big were you? I know. Hercules. Yeah. Anyways, you guys, let me tell you what happened. Basically, I found out I was a little sick. I was diagnosed about 2 years ago, type 2 diabetic. Now, I maxed out at 445 pounds. Yeah, that's way past fluffy, okay? Let's be honest, that's not even, damn! 445 pounds, that's borderline Discovery Channel fat. That was like, I couldn't leave the house, you know?
He wants to go to the movies.
It was really bad, you guys, and so I was waking up every morning with a 300 plus sugar level. Now, anyone who knows anything about diabetes, that is super high. And you do that enough times and eventually, clear.
It's so hard to say goodbye. They buried him in frosting. It was the sweetest funeral ever. Everyone got a cupcake. It was a shit. It was so nice.
I'm at the doctor's office, you guys, and the doctor tells me, he says, listen, Gabriel, you're 445 pounds, your weight is out of control, your diabetes is out of control, you're 35 years old, you will not live another 2 years. I guarantee it. And I got very emotional, you know, I was like, are you serious? He goes, 2 years tops. And I was like, but I just started making money. Well, it's gonna be a nice funeral. I was like, what an ass. So it took a lot for me to finally start doing something about it, you know, because it's not like this is the first time I try to lose weight. This has been happening for a long time, but somebody tells you you're gonna die, you actually wake up. So what it took the support of my friends, my family, and, you know, especially, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Martin, you guys, helped me out so much because he's always encouraging me to go to the gym. Let's go work out, bro. Let's go do something. And more importantly than let's go work out is, you know, we're on the road together 46 weeks out of the year, so we eat together a lot, and he's always watching what I eat. And if he sees me reaching for something I shouldn't mess with, he checks me, especially breakfast. That's my favorite meal. I love breakfast. And they always put us at these nice hotels where they give us this continental breakfast with the buffet, and, you know, if I'm eating eggs and bacon and sausage, that's fine. Yes, some of it's fattening, but guess what? No sugar. If Martin sees me reaching for muffins or waffles, he makes a scene. He waits for me to get about 15 feet away, and he starts yelling in front of all the people at the restaurant. Oh yeah, he's still ghetto. I don't care if it's a Ritz-Carlton. Guess what? Machete's here. He starts yelling. He waits for me to get 15 feet away, and then he starts. Really, bro? You're gonna put that in your mouth, Fluffy? You know what that's gonna do to your body? Hey, have some self-respect. And he makes me cry at breakfast. I'm sad. I'm like, I don't want the muffin. I don't want it. I don't want the muffin. I'm not a little whore. I'm not a little whore. But see, that is a real friend who would check me and remind me, hey, bro, get mad at me all you want. I just want you to live. And I got to respect that. That's why I love that dude, you know? And in turn, sometimes I got to check Martin. Yeah. Believe me, you guys. It goes both ways. Sometimes I have to check him. Not about his weight, but he has his demons too. You know, oh, believe that. Yes, sometimes there's limited space at the hotels where we're staying at. So sometimes we got to double up on a room. And every now and then Martino brings some random girl to the room at 3 o'clock in the morning, wakes me up. I got to look at him and say, really, bro? You're going to put that in your mouth? Do you know what that's gonna do to your body? Hey, have some sense. He doesn't, he really doesn't. So let me tell you guys, I'm in the doctor's office and he tells me, he says, listen, Gabriel, obviously working out isn't cutting it. I have a friend who specializes in gastric bypass, and I think it would benefit you greatly to at least listen to what the guy has to say. It couldn't hurt. So he hands me a card. The card says BH Surgical Center. I make an appointment. I show up to this place. I get to the door. The door doesn't say BH Surgical Center. It actually says Center for the Morbidly Obese. Yeah, that shit's not cute. So I figure I'm there. I might as well check it out. So I walk in. I go over to the receptionist and I ask, right spot? And she was cool. She was like,
Yes, sir, you're in the right location.
can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
Why does it say Center for the Morbidly Obese on the door?
The doctors prefer it that way.
Why don't you have that on the card?
Because then you won't come in. First time?
Yeah, first time. So she hands me a clipboard and she goes,
Please take this clipboard and have a seat. They'll call you in a few minutes.
so I turn around and I sit down on this couch and I start filling out the paperwork. And it wasn't like insurance forms and stuff like that. It was actually more of like a questionnaire. They ask you a bunch of questions and you have to answer from 1 to 10 how unhealthy you think you are. And it's not going good. It's not. I'm like, oh, freaking 8, 8, 9, 9, 9, 9, 10, 9, 9, 10, 9, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And as I'm filling out the paperwork outside the door, I hear. All of a sudden, the door opens up and this dude walks in. Freaking. I was like, oh my God, you're morbid. Immediately, my score got better. I'm like, shoot, I'm a 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I'm healthy by default. He makes his way over to the receptionist and she's like,
Are you here for the 8:30? Is this your first time here? Because the doctors prefer it that way. Because then you won't come in. Oh, God. Take this clipboard and have a seat. They'll call you in a few minutes.
So he turns around and he looks at me and my sofa. And he's like, I swear it was like the opening scene to the movie Pacific Rim. He's like, I was like, ah! No, No one's sitting here? Yeah, it's all you, bro. So then, she walks me into the doctor's office. I sit down, doctor walks in, and we spoke for an hour. In a nutshell, what he says is that he wants to take my stomach, which in his opinion is the size of an NFL football, and he wants to cut it and make it the size of a hard-boiled egg. Therefore, you only eat this much and you lose weight with time. Problem with gastric bypass is that if you don't stick to their program religiously, not only will you not lose weight, you will gain weight. And you'll have a series of complications. And then he asked, do you travel a lot? I'm like, I'm on the road 46 weeks out of the year. He goes, this is not going to work for you. I'm like, I agree. I like 2 eggs. I said, well, what should I do? He goes, I don't know, but this isn't going to work. So I left the office. I was bummed out, you guys. I get in my car. I was so depressed because I'm like, someone told me I got 2 years to live. Surgery's my last hope. And so I started crying. I was sad. I was in the car. I'm crying. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? And the only thing that could cheer me up was a drive-thru. And I know that sounds crazy. Some of you are like,
Isn't that what got you in that position to begin with?
yes, but it's the only thing that made sense. There's a reason why it's called comfort food. Think about that. Anytime you see someone eating a burger, they never look sad. They always look happy. You might look sad walking in, you might look sad walking out, but when the actual event of eating a burger is happening, life couldn't be better. That's right. My girl told me that I make sounds when I eat burgers. I didn't know. Apparently I do. I'm eating a burger and I'm like, She was like, are you eating that or are you eating that? Think about it. Who's sad when they're eating fast food? I'll tell you who's sad. The person eating a salad watching someone eat fast food. That's who's sad. So I pull up to this fast food restaurant with a big M on it. And the guy in the speaker's like, may I help you? And I'm crying. I'm like, you have no idea. What I eventually wound up doing, you guys, is I started low carbing. Now, I am not eating healthy by no means, okay? I still eat fast food every single day. And people question it.
How do you eat fast food and lose 100 pounds?
I'll give you an example. I'll go to a burger place and I'll order a double cheeseburger. I won't eat the bread. I won't eat the onions, the tomato, the ketchup. I'll eat the meat, the cheese, the mayo, the mustard, and I'll order up to 3 with like 3 diet sodas. And people go,
That's unhealthy. The cholesterol's gonna kill you.
I agree. But guess what? Cholesterol is going to take 10 years to kill me. Diabetes is going to do it in 2. Right now, I'm winning by 8. Hell yeah, that's called fluffy math, bro. There's a lot of people mad in here right now.
Fluffy found a loophole.
Yes. So I started low carbing. I started doing yoga. And I know that sounds like a joke right there. Yeah, some of you are like, he means yogurt. No, yoga. Freaking DDP helped me, and then I started lifting weights, and it's kind of hard for me, guys, because now I have people at my shows telling me,
We're noticing there's a little difference. You're a little less fluffy. What's gonna happen if you keep losing weight? What are we gonna call you? What are we gonna call you?
I lift weights, call me Buffy, I don't care. The point is that I'm not trying to lose weight for vanity's sake. I'm very secure. The point is that I'm trying to lose weight so I can be around for my family, so I can be around for my friends, and so I can be around for you. And it's funny because, for me to relate to my son, it's a little challenging, you guys. And it's not that I can't relate to a teenager, because I can. I can relate to almost any age. I got people that brought kids here tonight. The problem is that my son doesn't see me as an entertainer. He sees me as the guy that tells him to take a shower, put on deodorant, stop picking your nose. That's me. His friends, on the other hand, I'm like a god to his friends. Every time I drop off Frankie at school now, I pull up, the kids see my car. They freak out and they run over to it and they put their hands on it like it's a shrine. They touch the car like freaking,
Selena está aquí.
you know? Some of you got that. Gracias. Anyway. Then the kids start shaking my car side to side, chanting, Fluffy, Fluffy, Fluffy. And Frankie's in the front seat, pissed. He's pissed. He's like, this is bull. I'm like, hey, dude, don't get mad at me because I'm more popular than you at your school. Little hater. He gets out of the car all mad. They're still chanting, Fluffy, Fluffy. The thing is that our worlds are very different. His world revolves around Grand Theft Auto, the video game, YouTube, and girls. He's really good at 2 of those. The other one, not so much. And it's not that I'm trying to be a hater about it. It's just that I tell Frankie, listen, you need to start having more conversations. You need to become more talkative and interact like this. See, he'd rather text than talk. That's his whole thing. I'm like, dude, you gotta learn, start to talk to me. I wish you would talk to me more. You could learn a lot about talking by talking to me. I'm just saying, I only do it professionally. But no, he'd rather text. It's at the point now where if I'm in the house and I yell, Frankie, did you take out the trash? Nothing. All of a sudden, cling. I take out my phone, no. But if I say, I got money for you, freaking Houdini, right? Oh, hello. Because you can't text cash. That's my big thing right now. I just want him to take out the trash. He's 16 years old now. He should have been doing this since he was 10, but better late than never. And what he does is he'll sit in the living room and he tunes out the rest of the house. He sits there and he'll put on these headphones that I got him for Christmas a couple of years ago. These Beats with the freaking studio button, and it cuts out all of the sound. They are so strong that when he starts watching his YouTube videos, he can't hear himself laugh. And for me, that is the funniest thing in the world. I'm in the other room and I can hear him. This is what I hear. I'm in the other room like, who brought the Germans? And so I walk out into the living room and I see Frankie and he's laughing at his phone and I gotta flag him down. I go, hey. And he'll take him off. What's up, Dad? I go, Frankie, can you do me a favor? Can you please take out the trash? Okay. And then he puts them back on. What? Now? I go, yes. Now? When you ask me for a ride, it's because you need a ride when you ask for it, right? Not later. Then he says, where are we going? Just take out the trash. And then he does it. He takes out the trash, but he acts like he's doing me the biggest favor in the world. And he stares me down and he doesn't break eye contact. He's like, and then I'll hold the bag over the can and he makes a sound. I'm like, dude, so much drama. It's crazy. I'd like to have normal conversations with him, but usually I got to take it that far for us to interact. I look forward to conversations. Even if it's something small and minute, at least it gives me a chance to trigger another conversation with him. I look forward to a few things. I look forward to December, because in December, Frankie becomes very chatty. Otherwise, he's one-word kid. Parents, you know what I'm talking about. Kids, one-word kid. And you try to talk to him. Hey, how's your day? Good. You have any homework? Yeah. You gonna do it? Maybe. You hungry? Mm-hmm. What do you want? Food. Ah! Usually that's what I get. But December rolls around, and guess what December is? December is when he becomes very chatty because he has an agenda. All of a sudden, he goes from one-word kid to very like, hey, how's your week, Dad? You doing good? Yeah, how are the shows going? You doing all right? Do you need anything? You need anything? I'm like, I needed this in July, just saying. And I know it's fake, but at least, once again, it allows me to put my real conversation on top of his fake one. And if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. I know some of you in the front are looking at me right now like, well, how big were you? I know. Hercules. Yeah. Anyways, you guys, let me tell you what happened. Basically, I found out I was a little sick. I was diagnosed about 2 years ago, type 2 diabetic. Now, I maxed out at 445 pounds. Yeah, that's way past fluffy, okay? Let's be honest, that's not even, damn! 445 pounds, that's borderline Discovery Channel fat. That was like, I couldn't leave the house, you know?
He wants to go to the movies.
It was really bad, you guys, and so I was waking up every morning with a 300 plus sugar level. Now, anyone who knows anything about diabetes, that is super high. And you do that enough times and eventually, clear.
It's so hard to say goodbye. They buried him in frosting. It was the sweetest funeral ever. Everyone got a cupcake. It was so nice.
I'm at the doctor's office, you guys, and the doctor tells me, he says, listen, Gabriel, you're 445 pounds, your weight is out of control, your diabetes is out of control, you're 35 years old, you will not live another 2 years. I guarantee it. And I got very emotional, you know, I was like, are you serious? He goes, 2 years tops. And I was like, but I just started making money. Well, it's gonna be a nice funeral. I was like, what an ass. So it took a lot for me to finally start doing something about it, you know, because it's not like this is the first time I try to lose weight. This has been happening for a long time, but somebody tells you you're gonna die, you actually wake up. So what it took the support of my friends, my family, and, you know, especially, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Martin, you guys, helped me out so much because he's always encouraging me to go to the gym. Let's go work out, bro. Let's go do something. And more importantly than let's go work out is, you know, we're on the road together 46 weeks out of the year, so we eat together a lot, and he's always watching what I eat. And if he sees me reaching for something I shouldn't mess with, he checks me, especially breakfast. That's my favorite meal. I love breakfast. And they always put us at these nice hotels where they give us this continental breakfast with the buffet. And, you know, if I'm eating eggs and bacon and sausage, that's fine. Yes, some of it's fattening, but guess what? No sugar. If Martin sees me reaching for muffins or waffles, he makes a scene. He waits for me to get about 15 feet away, and he starts yelling in front of all the people at the restaurant. Oh yeah, he's still ghetto. I don't care if it's a Ritz-Carlton. Guess what? Machete's here. He starts yelling. He waits for me to get 15 feet away, and then he starts. Really, bro? You're gonna put that in your mouth, Fluffy? You know what that's gonna do to your body? Hey, have some self-respect. And he makes me cry at breakfast. I'm sad. I'm like, I don't want the muffin. I don't want it. I don't want the muffin. I'm not a little whore. I'm not a little whore. But see, that is a real friend who would check me and remind me, hey, bro, get mad at me all you want. I just want you to live. And I gotta respect that. That's why I love that dude, you know? And in turn, sometimes I gotta check Martin. Yeah. Believe me, you guys, it goes both ways. Sometimes I have to check him, not about his weight, but he has his demons too. You know, oh, believe that. Yes, sometimes there's limited space at the hotels where we're staying at. So sometimes we gotta double up on a room. And every now and then Martino brings some random girl to the room at 3 o'clock in the morning, wakes me up. I gotta look at him and say, really, bro? You're gonna put that in your mouth? Do you know what that's gonna do to your body? Hey, have some self. He doesn't. He really doesn't. So, oh, and by the way, thank you to whoever brought the chocolate cakes in the back. I got them right before the show. Thank you very much. Very cool. Somebody brought Chico's tacos too. I thought that was great. Now, you guys here know what I'm talking about, but everybody that's watching at home, they're like, Chico's tacos, oh, what the hell's that? It's an El Paso tradition. If you come to El Paso, just know that that's, you know, that's right here. That's, you know, that's the tradition in El Paso. I ran into people in other places like Chicago and New York. I'm like, where are you from? El Paso. And I say, Chico's tacos. And they're like, oh. Like, wow, yeah, that's hardcore. It is the craziest food I've ever tried, you guys. Craziest ever. Reason is, they give you these little taquitos and there's like a sauce and you pour it and like the taquitos float and then it absorbs, and I never thought I'd see the day where I could drink a taco. Yeah. And you gotta have that at the end of the night. Don't try to freaking plan out events after going, They'll say, oh, we're gonna eat at Chico's and then go to the movies. No, don't do that, don't do that. You'll be sitting there like, hey, this is a good movie, huh? This is the one where Nicolas Cage comes out and... Anyway, he plays the bad guy in this movie and it turns out really good. Then all of a sudden... You're running by people. They're like, Chicos. El Paso tradition. You know what's funny? Is that a year from now, there'll be people watching this all over the world. Just like the first DVDs in Canada, Australia, and Europe, this DVD will wind up somewhere in Australia, and there'll be people in Australia going, what the hell's Chico's? Frankie, we gotta see Chico's. You watch, people freaking out. I say, we must go try Chico's. It sounds splendid. Yes, it does. Drink a taco. I never thought I'd see the day. I'm going to try it. El Paso it is. I have a bus driver named Dave who has never received any credit, and he's been working for me for almost 10 years now. This man has successfully gotten me to every single comedy show on time without fail. If I had to describe him to you, okay? Dave looks like the word America. Not America, America. He's about 6 feet tall, he's white, he has a gray beard, and he wears a trucker hat. And he's gotta be one of the most hardworking people I have ever met. Now, when I say hardworking, hey, I'm on the road 46 weeks out of the year, so I know. Difference is, I fly home every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Dave stays on that bus and he gets it to the next city where we meet him. He works anniversaries, holidays, special moments. Christmas time, I was with my family. Dave was driving that bus on the East Coast. New Year's, I was with my family. Dave was on the East Coast driving that bus. One of the hardest working people I've ever met. I just want to give him a shout out. In addition to being hardworking, he's very honest. Now, when I say honest, I don't mean, oh, he does his taxes right. I mean painfully honest, no filter honest. He talks the way people used to. He does not have time to mince words. He just calls it like he sees it. Before me, he used to work with a man by the name of Kenny G. Grammy Award winner, amazing music. One day, Kenny G was on his tour bus that Dave was driving, and I guess the two of them had a little discussion, and Kenny G used some words that Dave would have rather him not have used, and instead of getting into it with him, this is what Dave does. Kicked Kenny G off of his own bus. Because he would rather lose his job than lose his self-respect. And that's the man I work with. He's a bad dude. You guys are clapping, but you should have seen the interview. Oh man, it was a good one. He looks at me and he says, hey, let's get one thing straight. I don't give a who you are. You treat me right, I'll treat you right. You pay me on time, you'll live. Not to mention the fact that he keeps that tour bus squeaky clean. And he takes a lot of pride in that as well. One night, I was drinking on the bus, and I go to put my cup down. and I missed the table, and the cup hit the floor. I didn't get up right away to get the cup because I figured I'm gonna get up in a couple minutes and make myself another drink. I'll pick up the cup then. Dave sees the cup on the floor, and then he looks at me and says, "Hey, I ain't your mama. Pick that shit up." I get to the back of the bus, and I'm like, wait a minute, I pay him. "Hey, Dave, shut up. Yeah, I'll be in the back in my room. Thank you. Drive safe." And people tell me, you work with a man who talks that way to you? Why? Let me tell you why. Because he's honest. With Dave, you know exactly what you get. Nowadays, it is so hard for me to tell who's being genuine and who has an agenda. And with him, you know exactly where you stand. If he likes you, he loves you. And if not, you're on the curb with Kenny G. That being said, I have a story to share. About a year and a half ago, maybe longer, we're on the bus and we're heading down the highway. Just so you have kind of an understanding of the bus layout, let's say this is the front. Here's Dave, the driver, empty seat, and then a sliding door that goes in between him and the rest of the tour bus. My buddy Alfred and I are in the living room portion, and we're watching TV. We're watching the news. And on the news, there's this person who is running for some type of office. No particular office. And I guess their big plan is to erect a structure between two bodies of land somewhere. And I guess they want one side of the structure to finance the entire project. Well, my buddy Alfred and I, we have a lot of family that works in construction, and we know a bad job when we see one. So we started to voice our opinion out loud about how we felt about this person and what they wanted to do. We're being very loud. So loud, Dave can hear us. And then we hear Dave. America. I yell out to Dave. I said, "Be quiet, Dave. This isn't about you." He taps a button on the dashboard that activates the sliding door. And when the door is about that far from closing, he yells out, "I'm building a wall." I couldn't even get upset because I was too much in shock over the fact that that came out of someone 4 feet away from me. My buddy Alfred and I, we look like chickens. We're like, my cell phone goes off. I take out my phone and there's a text message from Dave. And I said, "That's right. He better say I'm sorry. He better say just kidding." I open up the text message and it says, "And you're paying for it." And people tell me, "You still work with him after that?" Yes, I do. I trust that man with my life every single night. I know where his heart's at. He can say whatever he wants.